The grand wedding of Jordan Hayes and Emma Wallace was an event to behold. Set in the sprawling gardens of a luxurious estate in Crestview, every detail had been meticulously planned to perfection. Guests in designer attire sipped champagne under strings of twinkling fairy lights while a live orchestra played soft, melodic tunes in the background. The chatter of happy conversations filled the air as friends and family mingled, taking in the grandeur of the occasion. Jordan, the 25-year-old groom, was at the center of it all. In his crisp white tuxedo and confident demeanor, he looked every bit the part of a man who had everything going for him. He basked in the compliments of his friends and family, accepting their congratulations with a wide smile. Yet, beneath the charm and polished exterior, Jordan carried a sense of entitlement that often bordered on arrogance. As Jordan moved through the crowd, joking with his groomsmen and greeting distant relatives, his attention shifted to a gold watch on his wrist. It was a cherished heirloom passed down by his grandfather, later customized to include his initials, a symbol of his family's legacy, wealth, and status. The watch rarely left his sight. When the cocktail hour began, Jordan removed the watch momentarily while adjusting his cufflinks, placing it on the corner of a table near the wedding cake. Distracted by a guest calling his name, he walked away, intending to retrieve it shortly. But when he returned, the watch was gone. Jordan's heart skipped a beat. He scanned the table, moving aside napkins and champagne flutes frantically. The watch, his prized possession, had vanished. "Where is it?" he muttered to himself, his brow furrowed. He called over his best man, Lucas, and explained the situation. "Are you sure you left it here?" Lucas asked, glancing around the crowded room. "Of course I'm sure," Jordan snapped, his voice low but tense. "I put it right here. Someone must have taken it." Jordan's eyes darted across the room, landing on Marcus Reed, a towering figure standing near the buffet table. Dressed in a tailored black suit and polished shoes, Marcus carried himself with quiet confidence. He appeared to be scanning the room himself, holding a glass of water and speaking softly with another guest. Jordan didn't recognize him, which only fueled his suspicions. Lucas hesitated, sensing where Jordan's mind was headed. "Jordan, don't jump to conclusions. It could have been misplaced." But Jordan wasn't listening. Anger and frustration clouded his judgment. "I don't know who he is," Jordan muttered, narrowing his eyes at Marcus. "He doesn't look like he belongs here. I bet he knows something about this." "Jordan, calm down," Lucas urged, glancing nervously at the guests around them. But Jordan had already made up his mind. He strolled across the room, his footsteps purposeful. The lively conversations around him began to quiet as people noticed his determined expression. By the time he reached Marcus, several guests were already watching. Their curiosity piqued. "You there?" Jordan called out, his tone sharp and accusatory. Marcus turned toward him, his expression calm but questioning. "Yes?" Marcus replied politely, meeting Jordan's gaze. "Did you see a gold watch on that table over there?" Jordan demanded, pointing toward the spot near the cake. Marcus raised an eyebrow, his voice steady. "No, I didn't." Jordan crossed his arms, his voice growing louder. "Really? Because it's funny how it disappeared. And you're the only person here I don't know. Are you sure you don't know anything about it?" Marcus's expression remained calm, though a flicker of irritation crossed his face. "I'm certain I haven't touched your watch." The room fell silent as more guests turned to watch the unfolding confrontation. Emma, standing nearby with her bridesmaids, froze in disbelief. "Jordan, what are you doing?" she whispered, hurrying to his side. Jordan ignored her, his frustration boiling over. "You're saying you didn't see it. But how do I know you're telling the truth? People like you always think they can get away with things." The words landed like a slap in the face, their meaning unmistakable. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Marcus's calm demeanor faltered for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. "People like me?" Marcus repeated, his voice quieter now, but tinged with restrained anger. "What exactly do you mean by that?" Jordan shrugged, his arrogance unchecked. "You know what I mean. You don't belong here. This isn't your kind of crowd." Marcus took a step closer, his towering frame intimidating but not aggressive. "I would suggest you rethink your words," he said quietly, his voice firm. "Not for my sake, but for your own." "Jordan, stop it," Emma hissed, tugging at his arm. "You're embarrassing yourself." Jordan shrugged her off, his voice rising. "Someone has to say it. Emma, he can't just walk in here and act like he's better than the rest of us." Marcus stared at him, his face a mask of controlled anger. He took a deep breath, refusing to let Jordan's words provoke him further. "I have nothing to prove to you," he said simply. Before Jordan could respond, another voice cut through the tension. "Jordan, that's enough." The authoritative tone belonged to William Hayes, Jordan's father, a tall, imposing man in his late 50s. William's presence commanded respect as he pushed through the crowd, his face a mixture of anger and disappointment. "Dad, Jordan began, but William silenced him with a sharp wave of his hand. "Not another word," William said firmly. He turned to Marcus, his expression softening. "Mr. Reed, I am so sorry for my son's behavior. I had no idea this would happen." Marcus nodded, his calm exterior returning. "Apology accepted, Mr. Hayes. But perhaps your son should be the one apologizing." William turned back to Jordan, his voice cold. "Do you even know who this man is?" Jordan hesitated, his confidence suddenly replaced by unease. "No, but this is Marcus Reed," William said, his voice rising slightly. "A philanthropist, a successful entrepreneur, and a friend who has supported our family in ways you could never imagine." Jordan's jaw dropped, his face turning pale. The weight of his actions began to sink in as the murmurs of the guests grew louder. "Wait, what?" Jordan stammered. "Yes," William continued, his tone sharp. "Years ago, when our family was struggling, Marcus came to our aid. His generosity helped us rebuild. Without him, this wedding wouldn't have been possible." For the first time, Jordan realized the depth of his mistake. The entire crowd stood frozen, their attention fixed on the tense standoff. The weight of William's revelation hung in the air like a storm cloud, threatening to break at any moment. Jordan, the once confident groom, now stood speechless. His arrogance crumbled under the weight of his father's words. As the murmurs of the guests grew louder, the gravity of his actions began to settle in. The rest of the wedding proceeded, but the atmosphere had shifted. Conversations were more reflective, and guests who might have judged Marcus earlier now regarded him with admiration. Jordan remained quiet for much of the evening, humbled by the experience but determined to make amends, not just to Marcus, but to himself. Over the following months, Jordan began a journey of self-improvement. He attended seminars on implicit bias, volunteered in community outreach programs, and reached out to Marcus for guidance. Marcus, ever gracious, became an unexpected mentor, teaching Jordan the value of humility and respect. Years later, at another family gathering, William raised a toast. "To Marcus Reed," he said, his voice filled with pride and emotion. "The man who not only helped our family in times of need, but also helped my son become the man he was meant to be. Thank you for showing us all what true kindness and strength look like." Marcus smiled, raising his glass. Across the room, Jordan met his gaze. No words were needed. Their journey, born out of conflict, had become a story of redemption, growth, and the unshakable power of grace.